Home values have increased tremendously over the past few years. So if you own your home, you might be sitting on a pretty nice nest egg of equity. That equity could be used to fund a major project, like maybe that renovation that you've always put off, because how would you possibly pay for it? So your home is worth money. But how do you get to that money? Well, that's where I come in. I write about mortgages and home ownership for NerdWallet, and my colleagues and I spend all our time researching the ins and outs of this stuff so that you don't have to. Today, let's talk about the differences between two of the most common ways of accessing home equity: cash out refinances and home equity lines of credit, or HELOCs. With a cash out refinance or a HELOC, you're borrowing against your home equity. Your home equity is more or less the part of your home that you actually own. So to figure it out, you take your home's value in today's market and you subtract the amount that you still owe on your mortgage. Now, with either a HELOC or a cash out refi, a lender will potentially let you borrow 80% or more of that equity. But this isn't fun money. With cash out refis and HELOCs, you are borrowing against your home. That means your home is the collateral for the loan, and if something happens that you can't repay it, your home is potentially in jeopardy. Because of this, it's usually best to use these for something that could help you build your wealth. So for example, consolidating high interest debt or doing a renovation that could potentially add value to your home. Let's talk a little bit more about each of these options. So with a cash out refinance, you are completely replacing your existing mortgage with a whole new mortgage. That means a new everything, including a new interest rate. And it's also going to be a really big mortgage. You're going to take out a loan for more than you owe on the current mortgage, and then the cash out that you get at closing comes from the difference between that new loan amount and the amount that you actually still owe the mortgage lender. Cash out refinances tend to have higher closing costs than HELOCs, but you might be able to get a lower interest rate, and you can always do a fixed rate. With a HELOC, on the other hand, you are taking out a second mortgage. So this is a completely separate loan from your primary home loan. A HELOC functions a little bit like a credit card in that you can borrow flexibly and just take money out as you need it. This can be convenient because you don't have to pay interest on money that you haven't actually used for anything. You're usually drawing from the HELOC for a period of 10 years, and then you're in repayment for another 20 years after that. HELOCs generally have low closing costs, and in some cases, no closing costs at all. But the interest rate is probably going to be a bit higher than with a cash out refi. Also, HELOCs virtually always have adjustable interest rates, so that means your rate will go up and down with the market. How do you decide which one is right for you? Well, for a lot of folks, this is going to come down to interest rates. If you could lower your mortgage interest rate by refinancing, then yeah, a cash out refi might make sense. But if your mortgage has a significantly lower rate than today's prevailing rates, why would you take out an even bigger loan with a higher interest rate? In that case, a HELOC probably makes more sense. Another time that a HELOC might work is if you aren't sure exactly how much money you need to borrow. Since you're only taking it out on an as-needed basis, you're never borrowing more than you actually need at any one time, and that means that you aren't stuck paying interest on it later either. Whichever one you end up choosing, do proceed with caution because again, you're borrowing against your home. But if that home equity borrowing makes sense for you, it could be a huge step toward fulfilling your financial goals. I'm Kate Wood, and I write about mortgages and home buying for NerdWallet. Head to our website to use our home equity tools and see how much you might be able to borrow. But while you're here, like and subscribe for more.